Picture this, a teenage girl crushing seasoned adult competitors in one of the most dangerous motorsports on the planet. While most kids her age were worried about homework and prom dates, she was navigating near-vertical rock faces in machines that could flip at any second. But here's what makes her story even more insane. She didn't just dominate the sport, she turned it into a business empire before she could even vote. And if you've watched Matt's Offroad Recovery, you've definitely seen her work. This is the untold story of how Katelynn Boren became a force nobody saw coming. Most professional athletes have origin stories that make sense. Katelynn's absolutely wild. At just 11 years old, she was already sitting in a rock crawler, learning the basics of a sport that terrifies grown adults. But she wasn't there because of some childhood dream or family legacy in racing. Her dad had a problem he couldn't solve, and she became the unexpected answer. Katelynn Boren was competing in rock crawling competitions across the country, but he kept running into the same issue over and over. Finding a reliable spotter, the person who guides drivers through impossible terrain, was a nightmare. Spotters would flake, show up late, or quit entirely. The frustration was eating away at his ability to compete seriously. Then one day, he looked at his daughter and realized something. If she could learn the technical side of the sport, they'd never have communication problems again. They'd operate as a single unit. So at an age when most kids are just getting interested in sports, Katelynn was studying rock formations, understanding vehicle physics, and learning how to read terrain that could destroy a $50,000 machine in seconds. By 14, she wasn't just spotting anymore. She was behind the wheel competing against men twice her age with decades more experience. The father-daughter duo called themselves the Crazy K's, and what started as a solution to a logistical problem was about to shock the entire rock crawling community. Nobody was ready for what came next. Katelynn didn't ease into competitive rock crawling. She exploded onto the scene like nothing anyone had witnessed before. In her first 6 competitions as a driver, she didn't just participate, she dominated. 4 first-place finishes and 2 second-place finishes against adult competitors who had been doing this longer than she'd been alive. Think about that for a second. A 14-year-old girl was making experienced drivers look amateur. Rock crawling isn't like other motorsports where you can rely purely on speed or horsepower. It's a brutal mental game wrapped in physical danger. Competitors get 10 minutes to navigate courses designed to break both machines and spirits. One wrong move, one miscalculation of a line, and you're watching thousands of dollars in damage happen in real time. The pressure is suffocating, and veterans crack under it constantly. But Katelynn thrived in that chaos. While other drivers hesitated or second-guessed their lines, she attacked obstacles with a confidence that seemed impossible for someone her age. Her success wasn't luck or beginner's advantage. She had an almost supernatural ability to read terrain and make split-second decisions that kept her moving while others got stuck or rolled. The rock-crawling community didn't know how to handle her. Some respected the skill immediately. Others couldn't accept that a teenager was outperforming them. But the results didn't lie, and sponsors started paying attention. In a sport where age and experience supposedly mattered most, Katelynn Boren was rewriting every rule, and she was just getting started with her plans to completely transform her career. Here's where Katelynn's story gets really interesting. Most teenage athletes have parents or agents handling sponsorship deals. Katelynn, she picked up the phone herself and started making calls. At an age when kids are nervous about ordering pizza over the phone, she was negotiating with major companies to back her racing career. Maxxis Tires, Yukon Gear and Axle, and several other major brands in the off-road industry. She secured deals with all of them through her own hustle. Think about the guts that takes. Cold calling companies, pitching yourself as a worthwhile investment when you're barely old enough for a driver's license, and convincing hardened business people that you're the real deal. Most adults struggle with that kind of self-promotion, but Katelynn understood something crucial early on. Rock crawling is expensive, insanely expensive. Vehicles cost tens of thousands to build and maintain. Travel expenses pile up fast when you're hitting competitions across multiple states. Entry fees, replacement parts, fuel costs. It all adds up to a financial nightmare for most competitors. Without sponsorships, the sport becomes unsustainable unless you're independently wealthy. But Katelynn saw beyond just getting free parts or a few $1,000s here and there. She was building a brand before she even understood what that meant. The Crazy K's weren't just a father-daughter team competing on weekends, they were becoming a recognizable name with real marketing value. By the time she was in her mid-teens, she had created a business model that most amateur racers never figure out. And the competition results, those kept getting better and better. Winning local competitions is one thing. Dominating entire series across the country, that's a completely different level. Katelynn didn't just rack up victories, she systematically conquered every class she entered. She started in Sportsman C, the entry-level category where new drivers learn the ropes. Didn't stay there long. Her skills were too advanced, and the competition couldn't keep up. She moved up to Sportsman B, where the courses get harder and the drivers get more aggressive. Still not enough challenge. The wins kept coming, and she kept pushing higher. Then came Pro Mod, the big leagues where the best drivers in the sport compete with the most heavily modified vehicles. This is where careers are made or destroyed, where one mistake can cost you everything. At 16 years old, Katelynn finished second place at the Grand Nationals in Pro Mod. Let that sink in. The Grand Nationals isn't some local event, it's the Super Bowl of rock crawling. The best drivers from across the country show up to prove themselves, and a teenager nearly won the whole thing. She wasn't just competing at the highest level, she was threatening to take the crown from people who dedicated their entire adult lives to the sport. Her success in both the Eastern and Western Series proved this wasn't regional dominance or lucky breaks. She could adapt to different terrain, different competition, different pressure situations. Whether it was the rocky Northeast or the desert West, Katelynn found ways to win. But her ambitions were growing beyond just competition trophies. If you're deep into YouTube's off-road community, Matt's Offroad Recovery needs no introduction. The channel has blown up with millions of subscribers watching Matt and his crew rescue stuck vehicles in some of the most remote and brutal terrain in America. It's genuine, it's entertaining, and it's built a massive following. But here's what most viewers don't know. The connection between Katelynn and Matt started way before YouTube. They met through the rock crawling competition circuit. Matt knew talent when he saw it, and watching a teenage girl destroy courses that gave experienced drivers nightmares definitely caught his attention. As his YouTube channel exploded in popularity, he needed people who understood both the technical side of off-roading and how to create engaging content. Katelynn was the perfect fit. She joined Matt's Offroad Recovery as a content creator, bringing her competition experience and natural camera presence to one of the platform's biggest channels. This wasn't some influencer trying to fake knowledge about vehicles. She had legitimate credentials and real expertise. Her role connected two massive audiences: serious rock-crawling competitors and casual YouTube viewers who just loved watching epic vehicle recoveries. The transition made perfect sense. Competition rock-crawling and vehicle recovery share the same DNA: problem-solving under pressure, understanding vehicle physics, and staying calm when things go sideways. Katelynn already knew how to work in front of cameras from documenting her racing career, so stepping into YouTube content creation felt natural. She wasn't abandoning competition, she was expanding her brand into new territory, but this new path came with its own set of challenges that most people never see. The glamorous competition wins, and YouTube's success hide a darker reality. Rock crawling is dangerous, period. Vehicles flip, roll, and tumble down rock faces regularly. Equipment failures happen at the worst possible moments. One wrong move, and you're trapped in a rolling cage of metal and broken glass. Katelynn experienced her first rollover early in her career, and it definitely wasn't her last. Every time she straps into that seat, she's accepting serious risk. Broken bones, concussions, crushed limbs, these aren't theoretical dangers. They're outcomes that happen to real people in this sport. And unlike professional motorsports with massive safety crews and instant medical response, rock crawling competitions often happen in remote locations where help isn't exactly quick to arrive. The risk calculation is constant and unforgiving. Then there's the physical toll beyond the danger. 90+ hours on the road, traveling from competition to competition across multiple states, sleeping in hotels, eating fast food, maintaining equipment in parking lots, and doing it all while trying to keep up with content creation responsibilities. The lifestyle grinds people down fast. Bodies break, relationships strain, and bank accounts drain despite sponsorships. Katelynn also faces pressure that male competitors don't deal with. Every mistake gets magnified. Every bad run becomes evidence to critics who think women don't belong in motorsports. She has to be better than good. She has to be undeniable. One rough competition, and the doubters come out loud. But despite all of it, she keeps showing up, keeps competing, and keeps proving that she belongs at the highest level of the sport. So what makes someone push through all that chaos? For Katelynn, rock crawling isn't just a hobby, or even just a career. It's become her identity. In her own words, the sport gave her purpose and direction at a young age when most people are still figuring out who they want to be. While her peers were scrolling social media and stressing about teenage drama, she was building something real. The father-daughter bond with Kevin is a huge part of that drive. They're not just teammates, they're business partners who built something from nothing together. The Crazy K's brand represents years of sacrifice, trust, and shared victories. That kind of connection is rare in any sport, and it fuels her determination to keep pushing boundaries. but there's something deeper going on. Katelynn is carving out space in a male-dominated industry, and she knows younger girls are watching. Every competition win, every YouTube video, every sponsorship deal proves that gender doesn't determine ability. She's not trying to be a spokesperson or role model in the traditional sense. She's just doing the work and letting the results speak. That authenticity resonates with people. Looking forward, her ambitions stretch beyond just competition trophies. She wants to grow her presence in the off-road industry, expand content creation, and maybe even design or develop products herself. The skills she's built, technical knowledge, business savvy, marketing instincts, and media presence position her for success in multiple directions. Whatever comes next, one thing is certain: Katelynn Boren isn't done breaking barriers or exceeding expectations. The best chapters of her story are probably still unwritten.